Okay. I need to make sure that this is recorded, just so you guys, if you want to review it, I can give you a copy or a file. Now, as I was saying, there are advantages and disadvantages of working from home. Now, for those who have been in this type of work setup even before COVID, for sure you might have already established some system on how to go through about managing these people who works in different locations or who works remotely. Now, for those who are just forced, to employ employees to work from home in compliance with the government mandate to, close establishment, we might be having some challenges in how to manage this team, these people, in terms of productivity, efficiency, or performance as a whole, or result. So with that, it's perfect that you're here because I'll be giving you some tips and advice on how to effectively manage these people who are working from home. But before that, I'd like to know if you guys are all attentive by typing in our chat group or chat room. We're ready. Type in "we're ready." We are ready. Type in "we are ready." I want to know if you guys are there listening. We're actually expecting 25 participants for today, but for some reason, I think some would be late or some would be catching up. But nonetheless, we have to start because, if we will wait for them, we might be wasting time. So yeah, I'm seeing a lot of people typing in, "We're ready, we're ready, we're ready." Okay, that's awesome. Great. Now, I will give you time as well to introduce yourself. Diba? Not just me being introduced by our the beautiful voice over earlier. So I also need to hear from you guys today. You have 20 seconds to introduce yourself and just say your name, your position, and your expectations of this training. Okay? So, who wants to volunteer? Anyone who wants to volunteer? Once you talk, you just unmute your microphone and then open your camera. And once you are done, you mute again and turn off your camera. Okay? So, shall we start with, let me, Bethel Joy Mendoza. Bethel Joy Mendoza?
Hi, good afternoon. Sorry, I can't turn on my video right now.
It's
Would be
okay.
okay?
No problem.
Okay. Alright, so hi guys, my name is Bacalja Mendoza. I'm currently an HR for a digital marketing staffing company, and I just transitioned from corporate setup to working remotely this time. I've been in the corporate setup for more than 3 years already, and then I shifted to working from home, which is awesome, and that's why I'm here right now because I also want to know more about the setup of work of handling or engaging with people working remotely, and I think this will be an awesome webinar for me, and
Okay.
I hope to learn a lot. Yeah. Thank
That's good to
you.
know. Thanks, Bethel Joy. Can we have Carla?
So, hi, good afternoon, everyone. I'm Maria Carla Jacuran. I am a newbie in the HR field. However, I have experienced when I was in my OJT of different kinds of company. And now that we are in the pandemic, we are in a new normal. I wanted to learn, and I am expecting that I could learn something that is very helpful for us, especially that our company is also adapting to the new normal, and that our employees as well are still in adapting and work from home. So yeah, I guess.
All right. Thank you for that, Carla. That's good to know. We have Janice Jaire Vergara. Janice or Janice?
Okay, for a moment.
Hi, Janice. For some reason, we cannot hear you, Janice. So you might want to go ahead and double check your microphone first. Shall we move on with Leonardo Garcia? Okay, let's move on with Nina Macau. For some reason, these people are shy. So they're quite shy. I'm seeing familiar names here. So we have Marian Ugang. Yan.
Hi, Josh. Good
Hi.
afternoon.
Yes.
Hi, good afternoon to everyone. My name is Marian Velasco Ugang. I'm the HR manager for a BPO in Cebu, and my expectations for joining, I just really want to know what everyone else is doing in this time. Get some best practices and exchange thoughts and ideas. Yeah, that's all.
Thank you, Yan. Thank you so much for joining and for supporting. We have Michelle Diaz. Hi, Michelle. How are you?
Hi, Josh. Hi. Okay, this time I'm the one attending your training.
Right,
Okay.
right. I know.
Yeah, for the sake of everyone here present, I am Michelle Diaz. I am the Operations Director of BNI Philippines. And well, the reason why I wanted to attend is because Josh, we are practicing, okay, and living out our givers data values. So I really wanted to make sure that our staff who are working at home, we know how can we support them so that they can still feel successful and fulfilled, even if with less supervision or no supervision at all, because they are working at home. And of course, at the same time, what are our responsibilities as a company? To support them, no, especially on their welfare. Unsay parang you can extend help to them. Yeah, I'd like to know that. Thank you, Josh.
Perfect. All right. Thank you, Shell. And I'm really happy you are here. When I saw your name on the registration list, wow, I'm happy. We have TJ. TJ is also another colleague from BNI, Shell.
Hi, Josh.
Hi, Jay.
Is my yeah. Okay, I'm TJ Ledesma. I'm a manager for Alpha Diagnostic Center. And expectation is I really have no idea about how managing people working from home. So when you posted about this, I really jumped into it because this is what I really need right now.
Actually, you're the first person to register. Okay, thank you so much for that, Jay. And anyone else who wants to share? Those were people that I called earlier. How about Nina Macau? Nina?
Hello, sir. Good afternoon.
Your name?
I'm Ninia Macau from Cebu Sub-Zero, HR officer. Expectations is some of our employees now are under home, and this is applicable for our employees also. So I am expecting more na mas mas ma-practice pa namin.
Right. Okay, thank you so much for that, Lynn. So, last call for those who wants to share. Calling once, twice, another call. None. Okay, let's proceed. Okay, so again, just would like to remind everyone for our rule that when the speaker is talking, we have to make sure that our microphones are on mute. And if you will be called, feel free to unmute and turn on your camera if you want. But if you would want to keep it secret, then you can just turn it off. No problem. Okay, so now that I've heard your expectations and your purpose why you're here, there's a lot of things that actually going on in my mind and how I'm going to deliver that to you at the end of the training. But I am sure, I am very confident that all of those expectations will be covered in our topic for today. So just stay there, sit down, listen, and relax. Okay. Now let's move on to our next question here. I'd like you guys, if you are using a laptop, go ahead and open a tab, or if you are using a phone, just go ahead and open your Chrome. Don't worry, Zoom won't be closed down. It will just play in the background. I need you to go to menti.com. menti.com and type the code 716448, because I'd like to ask something, and that's already flashed on the screen right now. What are your challenges? Now, lack of face-to-face supervision, like both managers and their employees often express concerns about the lack of face-to-face interaction, no? Before I proceed, by the way, meron bang Tagalog dito? Because I might speak in Bisaya, Panagsa. Type in Tagalog if you are a Tagalog and you cannot understand Bisaya, please. So if there is none, I assume that everyone can understand Bisaya. Okay, no one so far typed in Tagalog, so I assume that everyone is Bisaya and can understand Bisaya. So let's proceed, no? Okay, so I hope you guys are already on that page, menti.com, and let me know if you have some concerns or issues about it. I may need to share the slide first. Just give me 1 second here. Share. Okay, now I want you guys to start typing. What are your current challenges in relation to managing these work from home people? Do you have challenges in terms of monitoring their attendance, things like that? You have challenges in their productivity? I need you guys to be very honest in your answer on your current challenges in managing these people. So I hope everyone is in. Go to menti.com and use the code 716448 and then type in your challenges there. Go ahead. And I should be seeing that here as soon as you press enter or you type in.
Josh,
Yes.
is it really just 25 characters in every line?
What was that, Shell?
I can see I'm in already in the Mentimeter, right? And then you said here that what are your challenges? So there are lines and spaces here, but there are only 25 characters that we can type in every blank something here.
Oh,
Yeah.
every tab. Okay, you can maximize those different boxes.
The next one.
If it won't fit, yeah, just press
Yeah.
yeah.
That's ko the word. Okay, thank you.
But if you can describe it in 1 or 2 words, then that would be great.
All right.
So I'm seeing here engagement. Now I'm seeing attendance logs. I'm seeing productivity as part of the challenges. Okay, let's bring in more challenges so we can see. And there's 3 people who just answered. We have work from home policy and program, arrangement, engagement, attendance logs, monitoring. Yeah, I'm seeing monitoring here. We have 6 people who answered. Okay. Policy, all right, policy, which is actually one of the items that we're going to discuss today. Attendance logs, arrangement, or productivity, monitoring, work from home policy, malingering. True, malingering. Some actually would also say, "Oh, I'm sick," but they just they're in their house sleeping. Okay, right? We received 8. Then there's 9. Welfare, yeah, that's 1. Welfare, support, Right. I'm happy that I'm seeing these words because it's exactly what we will be discussing today. Monitoring productivity, engagement, dishonesty, yes. And one of the things that we will also include is how we are going to provide disciplinary management to people or to these employees who are being dishonest while working at home. Okay, communication, exactly, communication. In fact, one of our tips that we're going to mention later is that word, communication. Okay. Okay, maximizing time. Trust, that's very true. Trust. Digital signatures, yes, that's one. It's actually one of the implications on the labor side, which we will discuss later on. Um, Okay, so I think we have monetary benefits. Okay, yeah, we will also discuss that under compensation. What signatures and document? Okay, thank you guys for answering that, and you will receive a copy of this just so everyone would actually share each other's challenges, and just so at the end of the training you can also share each other's best practices eventually, right? So okay, let me go back to our main screen. Okay, there you go. So I saw a lot of challenges there that are actually aligned to what we are going to discuss today. I truly understand that productivity or maximizing their time is just one of the very common challenge that supervisors or managers or HR managers are actually facing. Now, many employees, on the other hand, struggle with reduced access to managerial support and communication. So today's topic, we are going to discuss the two-way how to call this, mutual communication between the managers and the employees, because you mentioned earlier that one of your challenges is the trust. You sometimes don't have that enough trust for your employees because they might declare that they are working but they're just actually sleeping. And then at the same time, the employees, on the other hand, will actually feel that, okay, since it's work from home, I might not be able to get the right support that I need from my supervisor or my manager, right? So it's going to be mutual, and that is what we are going to focus in today's discussion. Now, one of the things that actually I did not see on the challenges is the social isolation, which I believe it's very critical, right? People tend to be lonely, if they work from home and do that on a daily basis, and that becomes a ritual. Just facing the wall, no office mates in the background, no one to talk with, no one to share ideas or even share problems. So social isolation is actually one of the challenges of our managers or supervisors. And it actually created, or it tantamounts to resigning. People would tend to resign because they feel so lonely, they feel so isolated, and they want to have another or different challenges. And that's what we need to avoid. So that also is one of the things that we are going to tackle to make sure that we avoid higher attrition during this pandemic time. Okay, so I think the number one question that you have in your mind right now is, Josh, where do I start? If we want to put people to work from home, where do I start? I'm sure all of you already might have deployed people already to different locations to work from home. And I think it's still not too late for you to understand where do we need to start if we want people to work from home, Okay, we cannot just say, okay, you, Juan, you work from home. You, Mario, you work from home. Juana, you work from home. Right? There needs to be some basis for us to identify if that person needs to work from home or not. And one of the things that you have to remember is you have to revisit your organizational chart. It is very important that you have that access with you, because you will then be able to find out if this position is okay for work from home or this position is not okay for work from home. Let me give you an example of a position that is imperative to work in the office. IT. They cannot work from home because I'm sure for BPOs like Marianne, she mentioned earlier that she's a manager of a BPO company. They cannot bring the servers at home, right? So they need to be in the office or on premise. That's why revisiting your organizational chart is very important for you to find out if these positions really are required to be working from home. If not, then they need to be in the office, of course, following the safety protocols. Otherwise, we might end up violating the DOLE COVID directives, right? So that's number one. And it's not only the organizational chart that you have to revisit, you also have to dig deeper on the job description of each of the position, right? Because the job description actually will give you the idea whether or not this person is capable or this position is qualified to be working from home. There might be access of information that requires him to be in the office, reason why she or he cannot be working from home. Or some of the information might be just in the cloud or might be accessible from their home to your office server, then that person can work from home. So those are the considerations that you need to look into before you tell the person that, okay, you can work from home. What else? Another is the employee behavior. It is very important that you also have to consider the employee behavior. Even if the position, based on your revisit or analysis of your organizational chart and the job description, and it says that the person is qualified to work from home, yet the behavior actually is far from what we look for an employee to work from home, right? That person might have a record of being absent, right? Might have an absenteeism issue, a tardiness issue, or it could be an integrity issue, which is really very important. If that person has, some issues or NTEs in the past that is related to integrity or dishonesty.
Yes.
Okay, so we just had a power fluctuation for some reason. Can you guys hear me? Can you type in okay if you can hear me clearly?
Yeah, it's okay now, Josh.
All right, that's good. That's good. So going back to what I mentioned earlier, employee behavior is also very important to consider. It doesn't mean that the employee's position or role qualifies for a work from home. It's not really a benefit, but more of a mandate. Then he can or she can work from home. Like I've said earlier, I don't know if you were able to catch it. If the employee has absenteeism issue, tardiness issue, or integrity or dishonesty, cases in the past, well, absolutely, the person's qualifications to work from home is questionable, right? So you, as the manager, as an HR manager, or the supervisor, or the business owner, should think again: will I allow this person to work from home if I already have this record of him being dishonest and being absent and being always late, right? So you have to profile your employees before you proceed to assigning them to work from home. Okay. Now, if you are not an HR person, and you might ask, oh my God, how do I do that, Josh? How do I execute that? I don't have any HR background. I'm just a manager. I'm just an operations manager, and I don't have any knowledge about job description, about organizational structure. Then it's high time that you actually coordinate with your HR person. And if you don't have any HR person, then feel free to connect to someone who can help you with that. Okay, and if you want, I can also help you with that. Feel free to contact me. Okay, it's just a more of a one-on-one session for 30 minutes, and I'm gonna give it away free. Okay, so now I'd like to go to the main points of discussion for our webinar today. The first thing that I would like to touch is about the basic documents for sign off that you need your people to sign before deploying them to work from home. Because it's very important that there is this agreement between a documented sort of agreement between you and the employee. Because if we don't do that, magkalisod, balikan yun na. And then kung magpadole si employee, we don't have that proof, we don't have that evidence or document that we can show to the arbiter that we have this agreement with the person. You see? So I will give you the list of basic documents for you to give to your work from home employees for sign off. Another is we will also be tackling about performance management system. Well, if you are a company who already has a performance management system in place, you need to think again. Try to revisit your performance management system because your performance management evaluation tool might no longer be applicable for the work from home setup. Okay, that's one thing that we need to consider. It will defeat the purpose of you evaluating the person using the old system if that person is already in a work from home setup. There are, I'm sure, a lot of areas, KPIs or KRAs that are no longer applicable for the new setup, and that needs to be revisited. Discipline management. I think one of you, a lot of you mentioned earlier during the challenges, what are the challenges question, you mentioned about the attendance, about dishonesty, about monitoring of productivity and all that. Then this is where the discipline management comes in. It doesn't mean that they work from home, they are no longer in jurisdiction with our code of conduct, our code of ethics. They are still part of the company, thus they are bound to follow our code of conduct. And we will have a detailed discussion of that later on. Communication for engagement. That was another challenge that you guys mentioned earlier, and we will tackle more about that in a little bit. So yes, communication is also very important. Compensation. Okay. Well, I won't be talking about compensation of, will there be allowance that I have to give? Will there be increase that I have to give? It's not actually required. Dolan did not say that if you put your people to a work from home setup, you have to give them an increase. No. But what I'm going to tackle later about compensation is about the overtime, the undertime, and more on the timekeeping, because these three items are actually tied up to compensation. And we will discuss that further because I've handled few companies and they've been asking about, Josh, can I not pay overtime? Because I don't know if these people are really actually doing something. Why do they need to extend to finish a task? Right? So we will tackle that later. Physical attributes of the work area. That's also a consideration, because when a person is assigned to work from home, it is expected that there will be a lot of distractions. And talking about distractions, I did not see that in your challenges, right? And most of the time, when we talk about work from home, you see, dads or moms working with a kid in their lap, and then, holding the laptop, that just to project a notion that that person is working from home, that is actually a terrible representation of work from home. Okay, so physical attributes of the work area, that's also one that we need to look into later on. And labor implications. Labor implications is also a very important thing that we need to consider, because, like I've said earlier, What kahibalo ang ato ang empleyado magpa-labor pohon kay naanay bahid sa relationship, and we have to make sure nga we are protected in that sense. Okay? So let's move on to the first item that we discussed earlier. Basic document for sign off. Wow. Actually, this is the giveaway that I'm gonna share to you later. Everything will be in our work from home policy and procedure. Before even deploying people to work from home, make sure you have that policy in place. That is our Bible on what needs to be done and what the employee needs to do and what the employer needs to do while this person works from home. It's more of like an agreement, intellectual agreement between the employer and the employee. And what are the provisions that should be in your work from home policy? Number one, it is very important that you let them sign the non-disclosure and confidentiality agreement. What is that? What does that mean? I'm sure, managers, HR people out there knows what this means. It means nga, ayaw ipanabi ang ato ang gibuhat dito sa laing tao. Right? Do not share trade secrets. Do not share the numbers of our clients. If you are a salesperson and then you work from home, do not share the contact information of our clients. And that's against the Data Privacy Act, right? If you are an accountant and you work from home, do not share anything of our financial information. If you are an operations head and you work from home, do not share our process, our trade secrets. So these are what should be in your non-disclosure and confidentiality agreement. If you are an HR person and you work from home, do not share the payroll to others. Do not share the cases to others. These are confidential and classified information. Okay, so the non-disclosure and confidentiality agreement is part of your work from home policy and procedure. And in fact, for other companies, they actually have a separate document for that. It's not just included as a provision in the work from home policy, but it's also a separate document that the work from home people signs. Okay? So another provision that should be part of your work from home policy is the clear description that it is temporary, unless the work from home assignment is for life or for forever, then you don't need to put that in. But if you are just doing work from home because of the COVID situation, then you have to make sure it's clear in there that it is just temporary until further notice. Because in labor, anything that is being enjoyed by the employee or at least a minimum of 6 months is already a diminution of benefits. If you give them a meal allowance for the past 6 months and then you realize that, dako man ko gasto sa meal allowance, I'm gonna stop it now. Even if there is no agreement between you and the employer, between you and the employee, that there is that meal allowance, makonstru na siya as diminution of benefits because employees have been enjoying it and then you stop it all of a sudden, then that is a diminution of benefits. Make sure that there is a clear document or agreement that it is just temporary and that it is not part of your benefits. Okay? Another provision that you have to put in your work from home policy and procedure is the scope. The scope, you need to be very clear and very specific in your scope. The position or the roles should be very clear, and the reasons why this person need to work from home, the factors that needs to be identified, and the eligibility of the person to work from home. Don't worry, that's part of the giveaway that I'm gonna give later. So work from home policy and procedure, you will have those. Everything that we discuss here is part of it. And you need to be very clear with the responsibilities or job description. Remember, I told you earlier about what needs to be done first before setting up a work from home pool of employees? Revisit organizational chart and revisit your job description. Your job description should clearly state what are the tasks that a work from home employee should do. I understand that some of you might already have the job description already in place, but hey, revisit it again because some of those items in your job description might no longer be applicable when they work from home. Okay? Remember that job description will be translated into a KRA, and then the KRA will have its specific KPIs that will be then our performance evaluation tool. If you do not have that job description in place, you cannot have an objective performance management evaluation system. Trust me. Kung sa man ang imuhang factors or KRA sa imuhang performance management system, tagna lang? No, you need to base it on the job description because job description lists down all the tasks of the person. And once you have all those tasks written, then you can say, okay, task 1, number 2, number 3, I think they are on the same area. So I would consider this as a results area of the person. So if this is the results area of the person, what will be then my key performance indicator that will tell me that the key results area has been achieved, right? So you see, job description is the grassroots if you want to have an objective performance evaluation. Next, the process or the procedure. You don't want to be there every now and then to answer their questions. Sir, how will I do this? Sir, how will I do this? And the next day, sir, I forgot, how will I do this? Correct? Provide them all the information that they need so they won't keep on asking you. They won't be wasting your time and they won't be wasting their time as well in asking you questions, same questions over and over again. You need to have that documentation of the process and the procedure. If I am a payroll master and I work from home, I need to have that certain process or procedure, what to do in computing the payroll. How to compute SSS, how to compute Pag-ibig, and so on. But if you already are a seasoned payroll master, I don't think you need that. But if you are assigning someone who is new to that role, make sure you have that process or procedure in place. Remember, if you give a person a task and you don't support them with the documented information as to what needs to be done, the process, the procedure, you are setting the person to fail. So process and procedure is very important. Next, compliance with policies. Let me emphasize this. If you have an existing code of conduct or code of ethics or company rules and regulations in your organization, I think you need to revisit it too. Why? Because there might be things or activities or possible offenses that this work from home employee might do while he is at home, but it's not on your code of conduct, code of ethics, or company rules and regulations. So how can you sanction the person if you don't have it? And make sure that they understand, they sign that document that, okay, this is the rule, I understand, that if I violate this, I will be sanctioned. And if there's no such thing between the employer and the employee, it will be very difficult for us to discipline manage the person. Although we have some sections in our labor code where we can get, that we can use as sanction for the employee, but it is still best to, protect our side through a polished rules and regulations or code of conduct of the organization. Okay? And of course, work schedule is also very important. Will they work 5 days a week, 3 days a week, 6 days a week? And in terms of hours, is it going to be 8 to 5 or what, 9 to 6? Especially that they are at home and they can be flexible about it. Some companies actually provide flexibility in terms of schedule. They provide some sort of flexible schedule terms that as long as you will not how to call this, as long as you start your work for the day, you then start counting the hours until you reach 8 hours. So you can be flexible about it. You might also wanna stop imposing like, okay, 6 o'clock you have to be there, 5 o'clock you have to be there. Okay, well, that also depends on the kind of industry that you have. If it's BPO where people are really required to be there, for example, for customer service, they need to be there from 5 a.m. to whatever hours, and they need to be there from 5 a.m. to whatever hours. So flexibility or flexible schedule is not applicable at all times. Only for those companies, say for example, sales. No, that is okay. Because sales is more on output. It's output based. They are not so keen with attendance, with their activities. As long as they deliver the numbers, then they're good. So bottom line is work schedule is very imperative. Okay, so do you have any questions so far before we proceed to the last item? Handling of company equipment. Okay, handling of company equipment is actually more of an agreement between the employer and the employee that the employee needs to take care of the company equipment. Josh, why do we need to have that agreement? I thought the employee should have all those gadgets, laptop and internet connections before they can actually or they are eligible to work from home. Well, that depends really on the agreement. If that is your agreement, then that is fine. The labor does not actually state that you have to provide laptop to your employees, you have to provide internet, but it's best that we also resource our people. We provide them what they need to be effective and productive in their job, right? So if you issue them laptops, cell phones, pocket Wi-Fi and all that, then that document needs to be there. That will state that they should take care of the company equipment. Otherwise, if it's damaged, they have to pay for it through maybe salary deductions, right? So that is very important. So if you look at the slides right now, those items there are the very fundamental documents that you need to give to your work from home employees before deploying them. But if you already have deployed work from home employees, you can have this as to follow. We just have to make sure that we protect our interest as a business. Okay, so before we proceed to the next item, I'm open for question. Anyone has a question? Silence means no question. So let me proceed to the next item here. Okay, so we're done discussing the documents that you guys need to provide to your people. Okay, I see a chat. Hold on, let me just open this. Okay, it's TJ, and he said okay. Performance management is another item that you need to consider when you send people to work from home. Why? It doesn't mean that it's COVID and that we're sending people to work from home. The evaluation of our people stops. It should continue. It doesn't mean that, okay, Josh, skeletal naman with me. We only work for 3 days and some 2 days and all. So I don't think mag-performance evaluate yapon me. The more that you have to do performance evaluation for your people. Okay? Performance management, especially during this time, is very imperative. Why? Why is that so? If you think that the company can no longer sustain because of over manpower, then the best way that we can do is to actually check who among from our people are non-performing. And those who are non-performing, we can let go. How are we going to know? The question is, how are we going to know that these people are not performing if we don't have the performance management in place? That's why performance management is very important. And if some of you might already have a performance management system in place, good. Just go ahead and revisit that. But for those who have no performance management system yet, please make one. And to do that, again, we go back to the basic. Make a job description, list all the items that a person needs to do, and from that list of tasks, translate it into a KRA, and that from KRA, you identify the KPIs. Then that will be your performance evaluation tool. Okay? If you need help, let me know. It says here, what cannot be managed. This is Bali, no? What cannot be measured cannot be managed. Okay? Do you guys agree with that? Let me just edit it real quick, because I think this is okay. Do you see it now? What cannot be measured cannot be managed. So how can you manage these people working from home if there is no way for you to measure what they do? If they are effective, if they are productive, if they are okay, if they are delivering results, if they are giving you the outputs that you expected them to deliver. So performance management is the key. Some of you might say, hello, saan man na pagbuhat of performance evaluation? Oy, saan man naman ang performance evaluation tool? Wa man gid ni ana, ang amo is check raman. Now, remember, you cannot derive to a very objective, if not close to 100% objective, but at least, between 80 to 90% objective type of evaluation if you will just download it from Google. And all you have to do is just copy and then check. Because most of the evaluation tools that I find in Google, nag-try gid ko ana, it's very subjective. It's just their leadership. Rate the person from 1 to 10. But it didn't say how or what metrics will be my basis for me to evaluate if this person actually reaches 10 or 1 or 2. Diba? It's very subjective, and we don't want that to happen. Because if I am a person nga naglagot sa ako ang staff and I want to fail him, I can always give the person 1 even if she is really very good. And if I am a person nga best friend ana nga tao sa akong gi-evaluate, even if kulelat kayo yung performance, but since we're best friend, I can give him a very good grade. So that's the subjective side of things at performance management. That is why we have to make sure that we have, if not perfect, objective type performance evaluation, at least 60 or 70 or 80% of it is objective, and you can make the rest of it as subjective. Okay? Mauna kasagara ang kapildihan sa kaso dito sa DOLE because, sir, amo man ang gi-evaluate siya, sir. During work from home, gi-evaluate man mo na siya. Mauna iyang grado, sir. O, pag-check sa evaluation form, puro subjective. Diba? So it needs to be very objective. Okay. It says here na sa performance evaluation, I think I've mentioned to you earlier about KRAs and KPIs. Diba? Do you guys know what a KRA is and a KPI is? I think I mentioned earlier that a KRA is an area, no? A factor. I'd like to say a strategic factor or objectives sa usa ka task sa empleyado. Say for example, recruitment officer. One of the strategic factor or KRA ni recruitment officer is percent of walk-in applicants. Di ba? Percent of walk-in applicants. That's a KRA. Unsa may KPI ni recruiter para we can say that the person actually achieved the KRA nga needed. One of the KPI would be, the actual number of headcount nga ni walk-in. So, But then again, I mentioned earlier that you have to revisit your performance management system. Nga naman, kana akong gihatag nga example about the recruiter, that is no longer applicable man. He work from home naman siya. Ang iya is phone call, Skype or Viber or Zoom interview. Walk-in is no longer applicable, so that should be removed as a KRA sa recruiter na performance evaluation. Di ba? So that's my point. You have to revisit your performance management system, all the KRAs and KPIs, because with this, things that are happening now that people works from home, some of those KRAs might be obsolete. Okay? So, grabe ang emphasis, no? Revisit job description, revisit your performance management program. Also, one of the things that I'd like to also emphasize is for you managers, HR managers, supervisors, or even business owners to do a monthly meeting review. Because performance is not just about individual contributions. It's not just about what an individual finished or, contributed as an output or result. But it's also about looking at the the whole performance of the team. And one of the things that the managers or leaders fail to do is doing a monthly business review or performance of their team, especially now that they are working from home. Okay? So that is when the work from home people will start to feel, ala, wala may kuya feel na support sa ako ang manager. No? I cannot feel that I'm being given support by my manager or by my supervisor, because there's even no check up na iyang ginabuhat sa ako. He didn't even ask how are you. He didn't even ask how's your performance, di ba? And to make sure that is being avoided, you do a monthly review with your team. Zoom, you can do it in Zoom. You can do it through Messenger. You can do it in whatever platform that you guys have. No? Daghan kayo available ng mga tools karon that are free of charge. Just like Zoom, although Zoom is only limited for 40 minutes, but still 40 minutes is good enough for you to discuss something with your team. Another is, when we talk about performance management, you provide them what you expect from them, but then you don't provide them the support or the training. So you might want to provide them regular trainings, virtual trainings to your employees. It might not be like a whole day training, siguro mga 1 hour training, just like what we're doing now. Topics like, how to manage your time when you are working from home. That's a very good topic that you can share to them. It will last maybe just 40 minutes to an hour. Or topics like how to avoid distraction from family members while working from home. That's also another good topic that you can share to your team. Diba? Another is how not to get burnt out from working from home. How to not get lonely from working from home. Or I also saw one, it says, usa na siya company, nga ilang culture is really dressing up. So they provide this training, dress for success while working from home. Things like that. Simple topics that will just, provide engagement to your employees is really very helpful. You might want to do it like once a month or twice in a month, just to have that engagement with your team. Now remember, if you provide them, if you tell them that, okay, I need this from you, I need this from you, I need this from you, make sure you also have that, okay, this is my support to you, this is my support to you. So give and take. Provide them regular, virtual, short training para ma-feel po nila nga nagtrabaho sila. Di ba? Okay, so that is our second item, performance management system. Before I proceed to the next, do you have any questions so far? Anyone has a question? Okay, there is none. So let's move on to discipline management. I think I've mentioned this partially in our previous slides, but I'd like to put emphasis again that you have to revisit your code of conduct. especially that for sure there will be a lot of possible offenses na mabuhat sa empleyado while he is working from home, but it's still not in your code of conduct or code of ethics or company rules and regulations. That way, if the person will violate such rule, ready ka muhatag og discipline management sa ilaha. Well, the worst is if wala mo'y code of conduct, wala mo'y company rules and regulations, wala mo'y code of ethics, code of discipline. That's the worst. So if you don't have that document yet, cascaded to your organization, and if you need help with that, let me know. I can provide you a consulting for free in that sense, and you can do it on your own if you want. That code of conduct, Manggod, is a big help to form that culture in our organization. If you don't have the code of conduct and people are just very chaotic, very rowdy, always absent, always late, and you are not doing something about it, you're actually creating a culture of what? A culture of chaos, a culture of undisciplined people, diba? So create a culture of discipline by imposing those company rules and regulations. It doesn't mean that they work from home, they are no longer in jurisdiction with our code of conduct. Naagihapon tayo right as employer to provide discipline management to our people. That is very important. Okay? So again, try to revisit your code of conduct, and if you don't have one, please make one. That's very important. Okay. Let's move on to communication for engagement. But before that, I'm seeing a something here in our chat group. Okay, feel free to ask your questions. Yeah, feel free to ask your questions in the chat group. If you don't want to speak, feel free to chat para ato ang ma-address. Okay, let me just have some water. Okay, let's move on to communication for engagement. But before that, I wanna check if you guys are still there. Please type in "I am here." I am here. Please type in "I am here" just to know if you guys are still there. Eh, basig ako rin kay istorya diri ako ra isa. Hello, may nag-type. Bro, ako rin isa na. Okay, nadi ay. Thank you guys. Thank you. I am here. I am here. Okay, there you go. Nice. Okay. So let's move on to communication for engagement. Now, I think ang pinaka the best man gid nato nga buhaton para ma-engage nato ang mga tao is to be in touch with them. When we say in touch with them, we don't just do it like through a weekly meeting or a monthly meeting. We don't just do it when necessary, but we need to do it every day. Do you guys agree with that? You need to establish a structured daily check-ins sa imong mga tao. What do you mean by structured daily check-ins? You have to how do you call this? Arrange that guys, at exactly 9 o'clock, we need to be in this chat group because we will start our day with a quick prayer. Or we can start our day with asking what issues you have, so we can address them before you start the day for your work. No, daily structured meetings or check-ins. It doesn't mean that it needs to be an hour or 30 minutes. 5 minutes is good enough just for you to engage with your people. Just to check, how are you today? How was your kid? I heard yesterday ang muhang bata murag gihilantan. How is he now? Diba? Before these people were deployed to work from home, I'm sure you also have that series of meetings. Or if you as a manager, you have that way of, we call it in a management, how do you call this, principle as MBWA, management by walking around. So you go to their workstations and ask them, "Uy, kumusta?" You tap them in the back and say, "Hey, how was your ride today? How was the traffic? Did it rain? How was the baha?" and all that, right? That is your face-to-face daily check-ins with them. But you cannot do that while they are working from home. So whenever possible, this should be maybe a one-on-one or a face-to-face via video. Again, there are a lot of free tools out there that you can use. It could also be phone conversation. It could also be email, but I don't recommend so much about email because it takes time, for the person to respond. Okay, maybe na-receive na yun ng email or add to sa spam or whatnot. Phone call or face-to-face video is really best for you to do daily check-ins with them. Okay? Remember that your team needs to see you and you need to see them. That's why video call or video one-on-one is very important. Because you see, if you are a manager and you are talking to the person na walay video, walay face, how would you be so sure that he is actually nodding to what you are talking? It's good that there is that video para makita nimo ang emotion, ang iyang reaction, di ba? There is that personal touch. Wala ka kabalo, nag-istorya na ka, naghilaka na di ay kay nakuha na there's naapektuhan na ang mental health. I'm talking about mental health, it's also very important. No? So, again, use those free tools to communicate with your people. And in some cases, it's also best to do regular feedback with your people. It can be about the performance of the person in the previous day. It can be about just about anything. No? Create a topic para maka-check ka sa imong mga tao. And that is really, really very important. Now, if the result of that, Manggod, is when you have daily check-ins with them, you can then create or build a sort of collaboration, relationship sa imong tao. And when collaboration and relationship is made, eventually trust comes in. And when naadiha ang trust me, productivity will be good, efficiency will be really nice, and expect very good output and very good results. If there is no trust between you and your team, okay, questionably kayo ang katong mga areas. And I think it's also very important for managers or for supervisors to let them feel that you are there anytime para mo consult sila sa imuha. Right? It can be just about anything as well. Ngayon lang i-consult. Nga, ma'am, or sir, I have this problem, I have this issue. No? I have a kid. Nga sige, samok-samok na ko, and then usahay, mawala ko sa passing, mawala ko sa akong focus. Please help me, how will I go about this? Diba? So, empathy is also very important nato ng mga leaders and managers towards our people. So, again, daily communication is very critical para sa people who are working from home. Okay, there you go. Established, structured, daily check-ins. Another item for communication for engagement is provide several different communication technology, which I already mentioned to you earlier. No? Pwede Viber, pwede Messenger, pwede siya phone, no? Pwede siya Slack, if you guys are familiar with Slack, or Trello, or daghan kayo guys available ng mga free tool that you can use online. Okay? And there is also Hangouts. If you guys are using Gmail, there's Hangouts. There is Microsoft Teams if you are using Microsoft softwares. The most important is daghan mo og avenue to use para makakommunicate sa imong mga tao. But do not, kumbaga, ayaw sa palabi na sa kadaghan, maglibog na imong mga tao asa mo adto for the updates. No? So, choose maybe one or maybe two or three, just so in case mo down ang Zoom, then you have a backup and all that. So, it's really up to you. Bottom line is, you have that several communication technology options na available for your people. And also, I'd like to tell you this. If you are familiar with screen sharing tools, that is also very helpful for your people. There are tools that will enable you to share your screen so that another person can see exactly what you are doing. And some of those tools even allow people to control another computer. So maybe when you do meetings, you can use that to show how this person does things, just so other can also get best practices from that person, right? So that's one. And another is Google Drive. I'm not promoting Google Drive. I'm not paid by Google to promote this, but in our organization, it's really very helpful. Okay, you see, the collaboration of our team using a spreadsheet or a document or a G sheet is very effective. Nga naman, I can do something on that document while other is also doing something on the same document. Unlike before that I have to send the Excel file and then the person do something about it and then send it back to me, I'll provide feedback, then I will put something, it's gonna take the process longer. But if there is that real-time spreadsheets that you both can do things at the same time, it's going to cut the time. So you can also do that. Okay? We have a question, something is popping up. Oh, there's also, love Google Drive. Yes, Yan. Nice. Same here. And you don't need to pay those licenses. It's free, by the way, it's free. Okay, so let's move on to the next area under communication for engagement. That is to manage expectation. Okay, this is very important. No, help your team figure out what they should do and create realistic expectations for their work. You cannot tell the salesperson sa panahon sa COVID karon, you provide me 4 million target. Is that even realistic? Now, I'd like to share sa inyo katong if na ay mga salespeople din if you want to set a target for your sales team, you have to consider a history, no? Historical data. We call it a trend. And when you talk about a trend, you have to consider the last 3 years or the last 3 months. If you are looking for monthly, last 3 months. If you're looking at annual target, last 3 years. If you have that data on hand, then based on that data, you can come up with a realistic sales target. Whatever is derived by dividing the total amount of sales in the last 3 months divided by 3, add lang ka of 50% or 100% or 30%, depende sa imong target, then that is your realistic sales target. You cannot just say right away nga 4 million ang imong target. You need to be very realistic. Okay? So again, if you manage expectations to your people, you need to be realistic. By the way, managing expectations applies to manager as well, no? It doesn't mean nga ikaw lang ang mo-set of expectations sa imong mga tao, but you also have to set yourself and your team those realistic expectations. Nga naman, why do you think? Because if you are just giving those expectations to your people and you don't even have that expectation for yourself, you are not actually driven. There's no such murag mawala sa imuha ang self-drive. Because what you think is just for these people to perform, for these people to deliver what I told them to do so. You should also have that realistic self expectations, right? So what does that mean when we talk about realistic expectations? It means that you are defining the scope of the task. If it entails a schedule, then you have to be very specific with the deadline. When is the deadline? If you are specific with actionable items, then you have to make sure that they understand what they need to deliver. And when we say deliver, we are talking about task or project that they need to complete, right? Otherwise, if you don't have that realistic expectations, or you don't manage the expectations of your people, magkuan na lang ka, you will end up like anang magnganga ba, unsa man nga, unsa may gibuhat nila di ay, what have they been doing, what is their productivity, what output, what results. So you will keep on wondering because all the expectations were not managed, and it may be not expectations but they were not realistic. Okay, so part of your communication to engage with your people is to manage expectations. Another item for communication for engagement is establish rules of engagement. What is that rules of engagement? So there's this thing that they call, you have to balance results with activity. Because a lot of people say that when you have work from home people, you should not focus on the activity. You should focus on the results. Which, personally, no, this is my opinion, I somehow agree and somehow disagree. Nga naman, because if I have this person nga madlungon, sige late, sige absent, what results will I expect from this person? Kumbaga na forecast na nako nga wala gid ni results. So I have to focus on his activity for him to deliver result. But if I have a person nga kasaligan nako, no, maayo, na skill, na will, then of course I will let him do whatever he wants to do, however he wants to do it, as long as na ay result. So you have to also decipher based sa behavior, the skill and the willingness of your people, kung sa ba yun ang imong style. Will I have to push for results or will I have to push for activity? It's not that we are focusing on the activity. What have you done from 8 a.m. to 9 a.m.? What have you done from 10 to 11? More siya time in motion ba, no? It's not about gipulis nimo sila on what they do. It's not about we are doubting them, but it's actually putting a system in place for that person to shape up, just so he or she can deliver results. And eventually, if the person shapes up, then hinahinay ka mo detach sa activity nga side and start pushing on the results nga side. Okay? So again, you have to balance results and activity. Okay, basin o more on the results ka pero na-abuse di ay sa imong tao ang activity nga wala na gibuhat, it will actually set the person to fail. Okay? Do you have any questions so far? Let me just have some water. Okay. Now going back to the establishing of rules of engagement. It's like saying ba, sa imong mga tao, it's like setting, I wouldn't call it a rule, maybe sort of a, how to call this, an agreement ba, that if I am the manager, for me to make sure that my people will be engaged somehow in our, communication aspect, I would have to tell them that, guys, I'd like to let you know that we have a daily check-ins or our video conferencing that starts at 7 a.m. And since there are 8 of you, I will start with 7 a.m. to 7:05 and then 7:08 to 5 minutes each person. Okay? And then also, I am always available through Messenger. Please do not message me on Viber because I don't use that much. I am more visible in Messenger. So So those are sort of the type of rules of engagement that you can share to your team, and that should be very clear to them, huh? Another thing is, say for example, guys, if you have some consultations to make, I tend to be more available between 3 to 5 p.m. I will allocate those 2 hours for all of your consultations, and you can call me through telephones or you can call me through Zoom. That's the only tool that you can use for your consultations. Diba? At least klaro sa ilaha that if they have a consulting to make with you, duha ra gid ang ilahang atuan. Did I say Messenger or Viber and the other is Zoom? Right? So it's like setting that's it. Rules of engagement with your team. So they would know when to go, where to go, and how to go. Okay? Another item under communication for engagement is you provide opportunities for social interaction. What does that mean? When we talk about social interaction, Josh, how can it be social? Like we don't even meet. I am in my home. My employee is in his home. How can we do social interaction? Is that even possible? Diba? So one of the most essential steps as a manager or a manager can take is to structure ways for your team or for your staff to interact socially, but virtually. No? Socially, virtually, in that sense. Lisura na Diyos ay, socially, virtually. Kung saan man muna? I'll give you an example. We have this organization, and I think Michelle and TJ are part of this organization. And would you believe, guys, we have a wine and cheese night. We have a coffee and pandesal day. You see, we still have that kind of virtual social interaction, even if these people are far from you. You see, so we just open all our Zoom cameras with our wine, with our coffee, and we just talk about anything. Uy, putanta si employee, iyang name is Juana. Uy, Juana, kumusta man ang inyo ha? Di nga, I thought, I heard that you guys have a lot of numbers sa inyong number of cases of COVID sa inyong area. Di ba? Then, Juana will open up. Bitaw, sir, na-agree dito, sir. We have that 15 months ago, sir. Muna na dyan kumugawas. Di ba? At least, it's actually your opportunity to not just engage, but also build that relationship with your people. Di ba? So, you can probably do that. And you can be very creative. You can also have a pizza night. You as a manager, you can probably say, guys, please give me your addresses because I will have someone delivered you pizza. Because we will have a pizza night this Friday. Then everyone will be very busy. Yes, sir, thank you. I will send you my address. Here's my address. And then the pizza guy will deliver all those pizzas in their houses. And then all of them will open their Zoom with their camera on and show the pizza. And it's a pizza party. It's a pizza night for everyone. And then you guys just talk about anything. Right? It doesn't mean that you have to do this every day. Huh? You can do this probably once a month. No? Just build that social interaction. Yeah, Michelle even said that we sometimes do beauty session. That's very true. No? You can go face the camera and then put on your face mask and maybe have someone to do makeup tutorial while everyone is eating their popcorn, their peanuts or whatnot. Diba? You can be very creative. And in fact, for human resources people out there, you can actually do this for your organization. Instead of having the usual employee engagement activities where you go out for team building or whatnot, you can do this as replacement, temporarily for those things. Social interaction, virtual pizza party, virtual barbecue party, face mask day, beauty session day, diba? So you can do that to your team. Okay? Before we proceed, do you have any questions so far? Okay, let's move on with the next. We only have 30 minutes more to go. Offer encouragement and emotional support. This is really very important, guys. You know, with all the things that are happening now, if you go to your Facebook feed, you see a lot of our condolences, rest in peace, COVID victim, this and that. You know, if you will read that on a daily basis, what do you think will happen to your mental health and your emotion as well? Di ba? Makakuan siya, sad. And if you will not take care of that part sa ato ang mga empleyado, what do you think will happen? They will be emotionally overwhelmed. Na di na sila effective sa ilang trabaho. They will then start to not wake up because they feel kapoy because of things that they see on Facebook. A lot of people are dying. The numbers of COVID are going up. No, ang iyahang co-employee na COVID positive. So these are realistic issues that we manager should take action. We have to acknowledge that this actually causes stress sa mga tao. And if this causes stress, I'm sure nanay it will build up anxieties inside them. And if we manager will not be able to address those anxieties sa ato ang mga tao, then they will struggle performing, trust me. So, we manager through our one-on-one talk with them should empathize with the struggles of our people. During this time, we need to be kind. No matter what. If an employee is not performing well, please don't be harsh by telling the person, "Oh, magay pulos dong eh. Misali ko nimo kay nag-work from home ka. Oh, magay pulos, may pulos ang imong performance." Please don't do that. Don't be harsh. Be kind no matter what. Kay karon nga panahon, we all deserve compassion. We need to be compassionate to people. So, you see, we have to provide that sort of encouragement and emotional support to them. How? Josh, how do we provide that to them? You know, even a general question like, Juan, how is this remote work situation working out for you so far? How's your adjustment? Are you doing good? Are you having a hard time adjusting with this? Diba? That is just a very general question that you ask to them, but that actually means a lot to your employees. And when they feel that you care for them, trust me, expect performance, expect results. Now, when you talk to your people, let them stress their concern, let them talk about what they feel rather than your own. Ang ato ang timaan that if we managers communicate to our people nga, if we communicate stress or if we communicate helplessness to our people, what do you think they would feel? It will actually trickle down to your employees. The effect will trickle down to your employees. They too will feel stressed. They too will feel helpless. Diba? So I know that. Okay. So there are a lot of ways to actually do that. For example, the way to encourage them or the way to provide them affirmation of confidence that everything will be okay is by telling them that, you know what, guys, I know that this is really tough. The COVID situation is really very difficult nowadays, but you know what? We've got this. We are in this together. But I know we can handle it.
Rather than, hi guys, murag wala ko kakapoy naman kayo aning COVID. Ay, murag kamu diya, kumusta naman mo? Murag wala mo ko ganahi ang trabaho. Di ba? If you communicate stress, if you communicate a helplessness to them, they too will feel that way. But if you will say nga, guys, I'm kagul, laban lang, we've got this, I know this is tough, but I know we can do this, I know we can make it through. I know we will thrive. I know we can finish the project despite all of these. So, we can do this, guys, come on, laban. Right? That is actually communicating confidence to our people. And that is offering encouragement and emotional support. Okay, we have a few more slides. Do you have any question before I proceed to the next? Still in communication for engagement. None so far? Okay. Next about communication for engagement is resource your team. Again, I've mentioned this earlier that if you want them to deliver something, you have to support them with the tools that they need. Make sure your team has the technology to get the work done. You cannot expect them to, hey, finish, and you're not even providing them the tools that they need. Even Excel, mano-mano, di ba? So if you are not using a tool, okay, the company cannot afford to do it, then provide them something that they can use, guys. I'm not good in Excel, but let's try to learn how to use Excel, okay? I think mao na siya ang paagi para ma-productive ta. Okay, the company at the moment cannot afford to buy a tool or a project management tool for us to use to track our productivity, but hey, we have Excel or G Sheet and Google Sheet, we can do this. Right? Another thing is, Josh, okay ba na nga i-require na mo sila na laptop? Okay ba na nga i-require na mo sila na internet connection just so we can tag them as work from home employees? It really depends on the situation, guys. If you think that this position is vital na mag-work from home at the moment because of the mandate ni Dole or even sa government na only 25% of the workforce can work on premise. And then the 25% comprises of the IT guys na daan. So which means that you have no choice but to deploy all the rest of the people to work from home. And then this person who is really qualified to be working from home, very brilliant, very good in what he does, a performer, but no laptop, no internet. Maybe the company can somehow find ways to provide those resources to that person. No? If wala laptop, maybe you can have those old PCs or PC to be brought to their home and use it, and then use na lang the pocket Wi-Fi for the internet connection. Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of ways on how to do it. You just need to be very resourceful. No? But it's not actually a requirement, good, huh? That the company should provide laptop or internet to the employees. But then again, if you want your people to perform, if you want your people to deliver results, then you have no choice but to provide them what they need, to provide them the tools that they need to be successful, right? So resource your team. Be creative in how you can provide them the tools that they need to be very successful. Okay, so I believe that ends our communication for engagement factor. So before we proceed to the next, do you have any questions so far? Or if you guys are learning something from this topic, please type in, I am learning. Otherwise, if you don't type, I would say that you are not learning from this. Okay. Thanks, TJ. Thanks, Bethel. I'm learning. Good. That's good to know. Wait, before I proceed to the next, dapat ay isa din eh. This is what we call communicate a lot. this is the last item. Sorry, for the communication for engagement. Communicate a lot. Well, it probably goes without saying that you should be in regular communication with your team. It doesn't need to be every minute, every hour, but at least on a daily basis, you have check-ups with them. No, that's very important. And when we talk about communicate a lot, you don't just stick to the rules of engagement that you've set earlier. You can even go beyond that. No, you can even do surprise call, do surprise talks with them. No, and most importantly, have a chat room that is open constantly. I'm sure naamuha na, kanang mga group chat, IT group chat, HR group chat, managers group chat, and this time make a work from home group chat where it is open constantly, every second, every day, every hour, where they can just type whatever they want. No holds bar, so they can just discuss just about anything. No, it could be the way for some people who are not outspoken. That could be their way of expressing themselves. So have that chat group available constantly. So pretty sure Messenger is one of those. Okay. Carla, I'm learning. Rodi May, I'm learning. Thanks a lot. Leonardo, I'm learning. From Michelle, great topic, just very helpful. Thank you guys. Okay. So the next is compensation. We're done with the communication for engagement. Let's move on to the compensation. Like I've said earlier, I mentioned that I will not be talking about the salary or the allowances that needs to be added if they work from home, because again, the law does not require to give allowance for people who will be working from home. There is no such thing, correct? And talking about salary, whatever salary they are actually, or they have signed up when they join the organization, it should be the same salary that they will have when they work from home. Unless if there is a change in schedule, when we talk about the number of days that they have to work on a weekly basis, from 6 or from 5 to 2 to 3 because they're skeletal, then of course there's a change in the computation, but the salary stays. The salary will be our basis for the daily equivalent of our employees to compute their salary for that day. Now, what I'm going to focus on the compensation part of this topic is about overtime and in relation to time keeping. Overtime, daghan gid pangutana sa kuha ni guys ya. I'm handling few companies karon who have employees who work from home, and it's a very common question that they ask, Josh. Let me have some water first. Josh, pwede ba ko di mo hanag og overtime? Josh, maglibog gusto ko mga tao. I'm confused. I wonder why they're asking for overtime. Guys, you have to remember that overtime is actually counterproductive. There is no such thing in the management principle, the word overtime, because overtime is always counterproductive. I have to ask the employee, what have you been doing for the last 8 hours? Why do you need to extend to finish what you are supposed to do in 8 hours? Or if they really need to finish that, then that could be considered. We can be very flexible with that as long as the reason is valid. But you see, if that work can be done the next day, then you finish that the next day instead of you doing overtime. But the rule of thumb for work from home, there should be no overtime. Why? Diba? Tracking, monitoring of tasks, monitoring of their productivity. Challenge na gani na. Pa-overtime mo pag mo. How will you be so sure that they're doing something while they are extending hours? right? You're just wasting money. If you are a business owner, you're just wasting money paying overtime for your people. That's why it should be clear in your work from home policy and procedure that no overtime is allowed for work from home employees. All tasks should be done within the 8 allocated work hours. That should be.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, I think to add to that, we are also putting in danger the health of our employees if we keep on encouraging them to do an extra work or like an overtime work, more than the 8 hours that is being
Yes.
required.
Yes.
Which means that in the ripple effect for that is that it will also be putting the company at risk at the same time, or incurring more costs just in case that we will encounter a problem with their health.
Correct. I agree.
Yeah.
Especially if we don't have that HMO in place for our organization, and then when people get sick,
Yes, that's right.
right? To whom will they ask help? From you as
So
the
more than just more than just probably more than just accomplishing things. We see to it that our employees are more important than the task that they do.
agree. That's very true. That's very true. It's actually to also protect the employees from getting sick. Thank you for that, Shell, for the very good point. That's very true.
Thank you.
And besides, guys, you should also make them understand that if they extend, it's going to be another slice of their bill, their power, right? Because they'll be turning on their laptop, they'll be turning on if they have ACs or aircon at home, they'll be turning on that until they're done with their works, and by extending. So it's really not a win-win situation if they do overtime while working from home. So 3 items. Number 1, overtime is counterproductive. Number 2, it's actually jeopardizing the health of our people. And number 3, it's additional bill for their power. Right? Okay. So timekeeping. Josh, can we not pay them for the hours that we see they don't work? For example, we have this tool, and then we see that from 9 to 11, there's not much work done by this person, and we only see, works being done from 12 to 5. The answer to that is, as long as that is declared in your work from home policy and procedure, that is totally fine, right? So this is one of the things that our clients are doing. They can't afford to buy a project management system tool, which is really very expensive. So they do manual, the Excel sheets or G sheets in that sense. And what they do is implement the time in motion. Time in motion is when they work from 9 to 10. I know it's very tedious for our employees to do that, but if it's the only way for us to monitor the productivity, please, let's do it, right? Until they will then form that discipline, form that habit, that they will become really very focused of their job, then maybe we can then slowly eliminate the time in motion. But the idea is, from 9 to 10, the employee needs to put something in there, what he did. And if it's blank, meaning there's nothing done, so it will not be paid. That certain hours will not be paid. Only those certain hours that has task on it shall be, kumbaga, ma-appeal sa payroll. In fact, that's going to be the basis of HR in computing the payrolls of their employees. So that's one way that you can track the timekeeping of your people. But if you are generous enough that you don't care about timekeeping, as long as they log in from 8 to 5 and then they have the results, they have the reports, then that's totally fine. But if you are a company that wants to save because, COVID time, crisis, we don't want to waste resources or money, then you can be very strict with the timekeeping, and that actually is really okay. As long as, again, it is agreed by the employee and the employer. It is highlighted in your work from home policy and procedure. Okay? So, I'm kagol, di na ma-labor. Okay, do you have any questions before we proceed to the next item? Now, this is all about physical attributes of the work area. Josh, can we require our employees to have like a specific room for them to work? Like there's an aircon para bugnang ilahang palibot, or like an office room where they can work? Well, if the employees can do that, then that's totally fine. It's totally okay. But if their home setup won't allow, okay, isang kwarto lang for how many families? Dalawang kwarto lang for extended families. How can you expect the employee to have like an own room for his home office? No? But as much as possible, we want to encourage our people to have that certain area, even as a little corner, no, a small table where they can work freely, no distractions and all that. That would really help focus. I mean, the employee to focus and on their jobs and deliver results. Usually, di ba, I mentioned earlier that we often see photos representing remote people, remote work or work from home people, and that shows a parent or a father and mother with their kids in their lap, doing some stuff on their laptop, sitting on a sofa or a living room, no, that represents work from home. That is, kumbaga, sort of an exaggeration to make a point that that is really a work from home setup. But to tell you honestly, it's the most terrible representation of effective virtual work. How can you work if you have your kids in your lap, right? How can you work if you have children around you? I don't think you will be effective. I don't think you'll be efficient. You'll be productive. So as much as possible, we have to put that in our work from home policies that there should be no distraction. If there are times that you need to attend to your kids, well, maybe half an hour will be the maximum, and then have someone else to take care of your kids and all that. Right? So you just have to again profile your employees, but at least they too can prepare, they too can set it up the way you want it, no? But you cannot demand them to do it that way. Okay? As much as possible, do not demand. But ang ato ang requirements is for them to have focus, no distraction, and no kids around, especially if they have voice involved, like they call clients, they receive calls, and we don't want our clients to hear a baby crying in the background while your staff is transacting with your clients, diba? So those are some of the points that we need to stress to our employees. Okay, so do you have any questions before we proceed? We only have 3 more slides. And so far?
There is.
There is?
From Marian.
From Marian. Yan, go ahead, Yan.
Chat.
As a chat, okay. We have employees who are working from home with an extremely slow internet connection. Oh yeah, that's a challenge. Their internet connection is just strong enough to allow them to clock in. But they are able to stay in meetings, share screen, and participate productively in web calls. Now their emails send too slow, thus response is lower as well. Yeah, in effect, the overall productivity is compromised, and they are not meeting daily productivity expectations. Can we accuse employees for poor performance if the reason is due to technical problems? Reducing work hours seems counterintuitive. So what could be the best management action? Okay, I will answer this, Jan, during the open forum part. Let me just finish the last 2 slides before we proceed to the question and answer portion, okay? Okay, so let me just go back to the slide here. Okay, in terms of labor implications, so work from home, is there any labor implications na ito ang nakita? Again, So work from home, there's no directive, specific directive about work from home from DOLE. It's just that, I think related ni siya sa question po ni Marian. It's just that we need to make sure that we have the proper timekeeping and performance management system. Okay? Performance evaluation is very imperative during this time for our work from home employees. We cannot terminate them. We cannot let go of them if we don't have proper evaluation. So performance evaluation is just the one of the implications sa labor. If you want to make sure that you are safe in letting go of people because of non-performance, performance evaluation system is a must. Okay? And it should be objective and not subjective. Because even if you have a performance evaluation system in place, but it is subjective, dako iya po ng debate pag-abot sa DOLE. And most of the time, those subjective evaluations always spill din as kaso. Right? And it will also go back to the support nga atong gihatag sa employee when the person failed sa performance evaluation. I'm going to share you a situation, a scenario. Kaso-kaso sa DOLE, okay? And then, about the arbiter, nice kayo ang iyang performance evaluation, objective type kayo. But then, pag ask sa arbiter, okay, this person failed. So you as an organization or as a company, what have you done to support the employee to improve the performance? Wala katubag ang HR. So, the null and void and termination. So, gi-reinstate ang empleyado and then continued ang employment. Then, of course, the performance evaluation also continued. Pero eventually, na-terminate rin po ng employee because of the non-performance kay the company followed naman the instruction of DOLE nga if you have an employee and a fail, you should also have a documentation that there was a support given to the employee. Otherwise, your performance evaluation will be null and void kung wala yung support. Okay? So, in relation to that, there are tools that are really being used as a helpful tool yun siya para sa mga work from home. We have the TIM or Time in Motion tool, and we have the PMP, the Performance Management and Planning tool. Okay, it's very important. I mean, it's project management and planning tool, not performance management. Project management and planning tool that will actually track the productivity, the completion percentage of the project being assigned to the person. If the company can afford to buy those tools like PMP, well and good, but if not, you can still use the Excel file na ay manual anong version, yung project management tool. Okay? So, now, let's move on to our open forum. Finally, it's 4:57. Sakto kayo na 2 hours, no? Let's go back to the question of Marianne. So the situation is poor ang connection sa employee, and then di siya maka-deliver because of some technical problem. Can we accuse the employee for poor performance because of that reason? The answer is no, we cannot. If we have to find a way how we can go about it, because the issue is not about the performance of the employee, it's the technical side. So how can you expect the person to deliver what is expected of him if the tools or the technical side is not actually cooperating, no? So the best way to do that is to probably, if we have someone else who can do the job, we can have that person jump in, especially if not a good connection, and put the person under temporary work suspension until the technical side of it, like internet connection, is fixed. Or in some companies like the BPOs, they actually house their employees to a hotels or pension house nearby that has internet connections, so that their people can work. But if it's not doable, then we have to identify someone else to do the job of that person who is technically who has challenge in technology, like connections and all that, and then put that person on a temporary work suspension until the technical issue is fixed. Yeah, reducing work hours, yeah, seems counterintuitive. So assigning it to someone else and then putting the person in temporary work suspension would be the best option for now. Legal man and temporary work suspension. And by the way, guys, HR people, before, if you put a person on temporary work suspension, kailangan ka og 30-day notice man, di ba? But because of COVID, Dolly forgo that. So you can actually put the person, the employee, at any time to a temporary work suspension, especially if it's related to finances. No? So, di na technical ana pag-abot sa Dole. Okay, so question before we move on to our closing part. If you can ask with using your microphone, that would be great. Wala na question so far? Perfect kayo itong 2 hours. Maybe some of them are still typing.
Hi, Josh.
Yes.
PJ here.
Jay, go ahead, Jay.
Yeah, I might take you up on the free consultation.
Sure.
Because I really have a lot on my mind regarding work from home, especially
Yes.
on the HR side.
Yes. I'd be happy to do one-to-one with you, Jay. No problem.
Thank you, because this has been very helpful. I was the one who actually spoke about monitoring with my challenges. Yeah, because I'm in the service industry, so most
yeah.
of my staff are out and about. But for the back end of our office, I need them to be work from home.
Yes.
But I'm having challenges on how to go about monitoring the TIM and the PMP. So
Yeah.
that would be very helpful.
Sure. I'd be happy to help you with that, Jay. No problem. We can schedule anytime next week for our
Okay.
one. No
Thank
problem.
you.
Okay. Anyone else?
Josh, Marian here.
Yan, go ahead, Yan.
Yeah, Josh, I just remembered because we have a current challenge. I just wonder if anyone else has found a way around this. And we're BPO, diba? So this is about the documentary signatures requirements.
Oh, yes.
Diba? Before on site, we require everything to be signed in ink, like what signature is good for legal documents, and one particular legal document is the quit claim and release document for releasing last pay. Before, we typically ask former employees to come to the office and then get their checks, sign the quit claim documents and release documents, but now we can't do that. So we are trying to figure out what's the best course of action for releasing mga last day mga receivables to employees without having them sign. And we're thinking kung whether or not an email or any written correspondence from employee will suffice as protection. Actually, nag-consult me sa lawyer, but the lawyer seems tentative about it as well. So I just wonder if you know of any best practice or any workaround that other industries or companies might be doing in that matter.
Yeah, that's a very good question. Yeah, it actually came out to one of the HR forum that I attended a week or 2 weeks ago, and that question actually came out. And it so happened that the person who answered it is a labor lawyer, labor attorney. And what he suggested, I'm going to share this with you. For now, temporarily, they can actually acknowledge and confirm receipt of documents or check or confirm receipt of wired money to their bank accounts through email. Just Yeah, you just have to make sure that the email has their complete signature, the name, the last name, their mobile number, and that the mobile number is also confirmed that he owns it. How? By texting the person, hi, this is Marian, HR of this company. Can you confirm if you are? Then you put the name and so on so. And if the person replies to yes, I confirm, or the best way to do that is actually, may I know your complete name? Just to establish that that number actually that reflects on the email signature is owned by that person. So that is one way, but still what the labor attorney recommended, that if everything goes okay, everything is normal, those documents with the attached ng mga email correspondence and screenshot of that text correspondence should be still sent out to the ex-employee and have it signed and compiled. But for now, email correspondence and screenshot of that text communication confirming that that number belongs to the person nga nasa iyang email signature para ma-establish siya nga siya gina siya. So that's the practice that was shared to us, and we're actually doing it as well here in the office.
Okay, thank you, Josh.
Okay, thank you, Yan. Anyone else? I would like to add yan ha, dili strong ang e-signature. Okay. None so far? Nin, yeah, Macau, do you have a question, Nin? Sir Leonardo Garcia, sir, you have a question? Okay, so none so far. Let me just move to this. I'd like to introduce you to Learn and Lead and Arise. It's a leadership webinar series. We are actually giving away free webinars to everyone, open to all, that talks about leadership. We have 2 upcoming free webinar series. That's HR for non-HR people. So if you have operations manager, TL, supervisors, or anyone in your organization that are not HR, but we would want them to give them concepts about HR, please let them join this HR for non-HR training. Our first run is on July 29 and it's fully booked already. So we opened another run on August 1st. That's a second run of our HR for non-HR, and we only have, I think, 30 more people, because each session is good for 100 people. And the first one is fully booked already. The second one, we already have 70 registrations. So 30 more na lang ang open for the second run. If you have operations manager and all that, let them join this HR for non-HR free webinar. It's also for 2 hours, okay? And for those companies who are ISO certified, or if you know someone who are ISO certified and would want to integrate their current system to the new normal, we also have that training on August 12. That's for 4 hours. Naalang ni siya fee, medyo mahal-mahal ni siya kay quality management system ang siya. So I'll be the main speaker, and then there's my co-speaker, also a certified management consultant of ISO 9001:2015. Okay, so please spread the news just so we can also provide assistance to those companies. And we would like to invite you to like our page, Purple Chalk Philippines, so you can you'll get updates from us about our free webinars or just about anything about leadership and human resource or management. We will be posting a lot in there. So if you could search on your Facebook, Purple Chalk Philippines, and like, that would be great. And we're also inviting you to join our group. We formed a group for leaders, for managers, for human resource practitioners, HR League Philippines, the New Norm Forum, that is to discuss all about best practices, all about management techniques in the upcoming next normal. So if you can join, medyo gamay pa lang tayo natin. We just created that like days ago. But the goal is to gather all the leaders, the business owners, the HR practitioners to join the group. So to have that community for discussing the management fundamentals and basics during the all of the new normal. And finally, okay, for the work from home policy and procedure and certificates, please email hello@purplechalk.net. You might want to take a photo of this or screenshot. Use the subject WFHPNB. So once we receive that, we will reply to you with the work from home policy and procedure template. You can customize it in any way you want, but whatever we discussed earlier about what documents should be part in your work from home sign off, everything is in this document, okay? And as well as a certificate, we will also attach. Okay, that's work from home policy and procedure. Send it to hello@purplechalk.net. The subject should be work from home PNP. Okay, so I think we're good for today, guys. If you have mga pahabol questions, I'd be happy to answer them. If none, let's all open our camera and take a photo. Let's have group photo, class picture. Let's have class picture, guys. There you go. Hi, everyone. Wow, it's good to see you guys.
Thank you very much. Yeah.
Amazing. Hi, Shell. Are you in the office?
Yeah, I'm in the office right now. And then
Oh.
I hope we can have also a one-to-one in the near future, okay?
Sure, sure.
Thank you.
I'd be happy, no problem. Okay, so everyone, smile. Ready? 1, 2, 3, and... Okay, thank you very much, guys. Okay, let's get
Thank you.
communicate. Yeah. Bye, everyone. Thank you so much.
Gosh.
Bye.